some Legos that I can see many of you are already starting to play with. Through the survey I had given with you all, everyone had said that they had at least seen Legos, or at least knew what they were. Well, I don't know if many of you have seen some of the unique pieces that I've handed out. Like I gave Katie a little soccer ball. I don't know if you all know that they made those. I've given some have little crystals. Others have moving parts like the clear treasure chest I handed out somewhere. Yeah. Each of these Legos, I mean, you just think of as toys, right? Well, today I'm going to tell you that those are not just toys. They are actually business tools, medical tools, and educational tools. Let's start with education, since this is a classroom. On the survey, one of you had said, I had asked, where would you use these outside of a toy? Well, I liked one answer, really stuck with me. I didn't have to write it down, I remembered it. In a speech. That was the best answer I got. But others had actually put down educational purposes. Like back in middle school for me, I had a class that was all about different businesses. We would go to different stations, and one station actually had Legos. I always wanted to go to that station. I never got to go to that station. I don't know why I didn't go to that station. But they would use those to construct little working bits, like a little arm that'll come out and come back in, move manually. We weren't that advanced. But there's also some technology out there called Mindstorm by Lego. And what that is actual robotics using Legos. They have a little more complexity than my little cart here, which can just wind up and let it loose. They actually have infrared sensors, ultrasonic sensors, accelerometer sensors, color sensors, compass sensors, and more. All that you can build into different robots, cars, something that moves, even just a big hand to grab a soda can for you. But the one part about the education is if Legos are exposed in education early, you may even just be prepared for your business when you start to use Legos. One of the businesses that mainly use Legos is design, architecture, car, any design you can think of almost. They even have a new Lego set called the Lego Architecture, which takes famous landmarks and turns them into Legos. A bit high priced, but it turns them into Legos. But there's also car designs. I really didn't think Legos could be used for car designs because I always thought cars, nice, smooth, round, Legos block. Well, amazingly enough, they've actually come out with plenty of car designs using Legos, and including BMW. BMW made a design for a Beetle out of Legos, and then they decided to turn that around with Lego and sell it to us. It is also a high-priced Lego set, but it makes one of the most detailed BMWs you will ever see. But one of the business that really uses Legos in a way that I never thought possible was the medical field. The medical field actually uses Legos in so many ways that it kind of shocked me. One of the ways is therapy. It was just, at first it was just, oh, it's just a toy, let the kids play with it, they'll start to open up. You start to notice that the kids started to share the Legos, they would start to make things. So doctors decided, it's like, maybe we need to start playing with them. So the doctors actually sit down with with patients, and will start to play with them. Amazingly enough, the children started to open up and start to talk more. And the doctors were able to get a little more information out of them. There's also the recovery process for children where they've been through a traumatic accident and they're in the hospital bed, they can't go home, so doctors would bring them gifts of Legos. For me, I was in the hospital. I was sitting in a hospital bed. I I was bored, I had a needle in my arm. Santa came along and brought me Legos. I thought that was the best thing I ever saw. Santa and Legos. Then there was one more shock about the Legos, and it was with autism. Now, the first thing that I saw was there was actually signs to notice autism using Legos. If you, like, one of the main cases I kept seeing was if they started lining up the Legos in a line, it needed to be in that line. It could not change, it had to stay like that. That kept popping up everywhere and everywhere. Then there was this story. They didn't release the boy's name, but they kept calling him Billy. Billy had autism, and he kept going to treatments every day, but he would always bring the Legos. It would always be like a tiny rocket ship that he made, and he would take it apart, put it back together, take it apart, put it back together. Well, Billy and another kid were passing each other one day on the way out for Billy and on the way in for the other one, and they both noticed they had Legos. Well, they actually stopped, sat down, and started sharing and playing with those Legos together. It's something that they had never seen Billy do before. And so the doctors looked at it and turned it into a therapy session for socializing the children. Sure enough, children started to come in and look at the Legos and go, I want to do that. And everyone would join, and no one would say anything bad to each other. They'd all just say, come in, play. And they all just started playing together. It was just actually kind of cool to read about that and just think, never thought that Legos could do that either. Alright. Now I want you guys to look at those Legos again, because I've heard no clinking ever since I started my speech. And just think about it, that those toys are actually now more than toys in your mind. And just think about all the uses that maybe you could come up with